Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and go beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee, co-host Raina. Snack of the day today is Blue Wilderness chicken kibble. Raina gets a few of these at a time because they're really small. But anyway, today is Tag Tuesday. It's almost over, actually, but I'm still going to squeeze in a tag. I am going to do the 2025 nonfiction book tag. And so first I want to say thank you to Philip at A Poet Reads to Write for tagging me. And also thank you for making the tag to Bookish Travels 1. So let's just jump right in with the questions here. The first one is, what motivated you to pick up your first nonfiction book, and can you remember it? Well, here's what I remember about my nonfiction reading when I was young. I remember a book in the school library in grammar school. I believe it was a natural sciences book. And there was a lot in it about animals. And I guess at a certain age, I think we're maybe around fourth grade, it started to become really popular. All of a sudden, everyone was wanting to check it out and take a look at it. It, just had, like I say, all kinds of things about animals in it. And so, everybody just enjoyed it. So I remember checking it out myself and, taking a look at it. It was a good book. At home, I had a couple of kind of children's encyclopedia sets, which, you might want to call those reference books, but they were kind of nonfiction-y more in some ways, in the fact that, they had little anecdote things in them and, little side things and pictures, and, they were made for kids. So I had those probably around the same time that I got the interest in the natural sciences book. And it was meant for my age group, which, probably around the time was 9 or 10 or something like that. And I just loved them for the same reason. There was a lot of information about animals, and I remember there especially being a lot of information about dogs. And there was a whole volume on different breeds of dogs, and I was constantly reading that and looking at it because that's what I enjoyed. Later, I do remember reading some biographies, things like lives of the presidents and sometimes maybe other famous people in history. And then especially you would use those, of course, when you had to do the book reports, or when you had to do just maybe a more in-depth report about a certain time in history or a certain person in history. Those were useful for that. And then I remember reading the autobiography and memoirs of Melvin Belli when I was in the 8th grade. That was also in the school library at the time. He was a lawyer in the 60s and 70s, and he represented a lot of famous people. And I read his book called My Life on Trial, and I absolutely loved it. I think for a while there, I wanted to be a lawyer because of that book. I thought I could just use his tactics and it would be great. I had that inside edge, and that probably is the book really that kind of laid the groundwork for now my romantic interest in Mr. Grisham. I think that was probably how that got started. So the next question is, how do you choose your next nonfiction read? And the answer is quite simply that I don't. I usually don't choose books based on fiction or nonfiction, really at all. I read whatever strikes me for the month. Very occasionally, it is nonfiction. Sometimes I will read select chapters from like my health and medical books that I have, things like this. I'll read a chapter that I find of interest, or my survival manual. Things about anxiety and the kinds of symptoms you can have. Things that, might help you. One of the side effects that you have sometimes when you have lymph nodes removed, lymphedema. So, wanted to know more about that. So, it's the kinds of things that, I might read, like I say, a chapter here, a chapter there, whatever I have an interest in, or maybe don't know about yet and want to find out some more about. So, number 3 is, do you take notes or annotate your nonfiction books? And I do occasionally take notes. I think I actually have some notes in this one up here on little scraps of paper, particularly if it's something that I want to ask my doctor about, or, maybe just do more research on, and so I'll maybe jot down a few things. Number 4, have you read a nonfiction book that has challenged your beliefs and assumptions? And I would say absolutely, definitely. I think almost all nonfiction books that would delve deeply in one particular subject will challenge your beliefs and assumptions, because the world is a surprising place and we're learning more about it all the time. So the more you learn about any particular subject, theory, or population of people, or even a medical diagnosis, the more you'll be challenged. We as humans kind of like to simplify things, and, that's okay on a daily basis to get us through the day or through the week or whatever. But really delving into something will kind of show you those subtleties and kind of teach you what you don't know. So pretty soon you'll feel like you probably, didn't know anything about that subject matter before. So number 5 is, how do you feel about the intersection of storytelling and factual content in nonfiction? I think it's fine. And I think, if I'm understanding this question correctly, let me say this. A book that just contains facts is boring. Not necessarily, but it could be boring. That's kind of more what I would call in the line of like a reference book or something, or a textbook. If you have some anecdotal information kind of sprinkled in, it can really keep you interested, for one thing. Or you can have books that are like, say, David Grann, The Wager, or his book Killers of the Flower Moon. Or I've read a couple books by Lauren Hildebrand. She did a book on Secretariat, the horse, and she also did Unbroken, which is a story about a POW in World War II. And she did those very well, and David Grann did his very well too, in that they're nonfiction, but they kind of read like fiction. You're just interested in the story as it progresses. Now, if you have some, anecdotal information mixed in, it also gives you a practical side, or like a basis for why you're learning some of those things, why they may be important. Like if I'm looking at, say, a medical book, say it's about like breast cancer or something like that, and it's talking about exercises to do after surgery, like, say, to reduce scar tissue, prevent lymphedema, and maintain your arm strength and range of motion and things like that. I'm going to be much more interested in doing those exercises if another breast cancer survivor maybe can write about how maybe they do their routine every day, and what kind of benefits they feel like they're getting from it, and how they structure their schedule with it. And say if I'm looking at something about diet, it's great to have some recipes to go along with it, meal plans, other ideas about how you can incorporate, the concepts. This one has recipes and exercises. So yeah, how you can incorporate the concepts into your everyday life. So, not everything is just facts. Question 6, is there a topic you wish authors would explore? I'm sure there's a book and accompanying YouTube video for nearly every topic known to man at this point. It seems that way, at least. I'm not even sure that all of those are necessary, but I really can't think of a topic that I wouldn't just feel free to Google, and I'm sure would find a book about. If I come up with one, I'll let you know. So number 7 is, do you incorporate insights from nonfiction into your daily life? And I would say the short answer is yes. I think that the examples I gave of like the exercise and the recipes are good ones. I've also read some books about like personality things, let's say introverts, for instance, that were very helpful to me. A good one is Quiet. It's called Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. The author is Susan Cain. I don't have it here, but it was a good book that I really should probably read again. I can't remember exactly when I read that. It was when it first came out, so it was quite a few years ago now. And then I read like The Highly Sensitive Person. I think there are actually several of those books now. But the one that I'm talking about, the subtitle is How to Survive When the World Overwhelms You, and that's by Elaine N. Aron. And again, I don't have a copy right now, but that's a book that I read several times. I also want to read a book that I came across actually today when I was looking at some information, just to have it here while I was doing this tag. And I want to read a book called Daily Rituals, How Artists Work by Mason Curry. I feel it might help me kind of understand Donna's relationship with pottery, why that's so important to her. And I may be able to understand that a little bit better. So I think I'm going to look up that book maybe at the library. So number 8 is choose just one book from your nonfiction collection to highlight. Well, we didn't really talk about, I didn't really talk about biographies necessarily, but yeah, I've got several of those. Here's one. This is a nonfiction book that I'll probably be reading very soon. Framed by John Grisham. He's actually only written a couple of nonfiction books, so I look forward to this one. I think it's going to be good. It's called Framed, Astonishing True Stories of Wrongful Convictions. So I'm going to enjoy that, I think. And I've never read this autobiography. Rachel Maddow's biography. I have Katie Lang's biography upstairs. I forgot to get it. I was going to. Michael J. Fox, he's written several books. Very motivating, very interesting on his journey. Elton John, I really enjoyed this. And I haven't read this one yet. Bobby Orr. So yeah, those are some that might pop up in the TBR sometime soon. So the last prompt is to tag some people. Since it's kind of late in the day here, I think that I will just leave it open and say that if you do read nonfiction and you want to take a look at some of your collection and just kind of go over in your mind what nonfiction means to you, it's a good tag to do it with. So feel free to pick it up and go ahead and do that. So let's do one more snack, one more round. I thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so if you enjoy my content. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the way out. And thank you again, and have a great day.